As a kid growing up in the 2000s and 2010s, there were two major fundraising events that every kid knew about. When we weren't scrounging through trash bins for can tabs like little gremlins, we were tearing through every cereal box, granola bar container, and Betty Crocker mix for those elusive pink and blue box tops. America really has a thing for getting kids to play with food packaging, don't they? If collecting can tabs was the equivalent of childhood currency, then box tops were the trading cards of fundraising. Sometimes you could tell what product the box top was cut from, so the kids who got the good snacks would flaunt their wealth of cardboard from coveted cereals and such. You'd see kids roll up to school with their Ziploc bag full of box tops like they had brought their Pokemon card collection to school to show off their new Charizard EX. "Aw, dude, your parents bought you Cookie Crisp?" Lucky? My parents say that's basically candy, so all I got is Raisin Bran. Those were the times. Box Tops are an American rock band formed in Memphis, Tennessee in 1967. They're best known for... Wrong Wikipedia page. Box Tops was first founded in 1996 in partnership with General Mills. Boo! Boo, large corporation. Boo! Boo! As a way for schools to earn money through collecting coupons on the boxes of their products. These coupons were located conveniently at the top of the box, wink, for easy recognition, and equally frustrating realization that you can't close this cereal box properly if you cut the lid off first, Timmy! You gotta wait until we finish this one to start snipping. While it wasn't the first partnership between schools and a massive food brand, it has been the most successful. Within 5 years, Box Tops had distributed over $50 million to participating schools and had become a national fundraiser. By 2016, Box Tops had become the largest marketing campaign for education in the country, and by 2021 had donated almost $1 billion to schools purely through box top collecting. That's pretty dramatic growth in under 3 decades. And an even larger amount of stale, sugary cereal for children to eat, Timmy. What did I tell you about cutting the top of the cereal box off before we finished it? No Lucky Charms for you. You go sit in the corner and think about what you've done. Before Box Tops, there was a charity called Labels for Education run by the Campbell's Company. They serviced all of your uniquely shaped noodle soup related donations. Campbell's charity was founded in 1978 and ran up until 2018 when it was eventually retired. Probably for having a lame-o name that sucks. Labels for Education, Box Tops. Box Tops, baby. That name bounces. In my last video about can tabs from Ronald McDonald House, I was pretty dismayed about the actual impact that kids were able to have on the charity. The charity makes about 40 to 50 cents per pound of can tabs? Pound? That's like over 1,100 can tabs. But much to my surprise, box tops are worth 10 cents per coupon. That's actually pretty good. That means my box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch I got at Target for $3.50 will raise more money than a year's worth of drinking canned soda. Plus, you get the added benefit of cutting up the cardboard afterward like it's baby's first ransom note. That is, you used to be able to go sicko mode on your cereal box. But in 2019, Box Tops switched to an app where you scan your entire receipt to donate instead of the classic scissors method, frustrating future serial killers everywhere. Another great benefit of Box Tops is that the funds are distributed to your specific school. That means the time and money you put into the fundraiser through regular purchasing habits will have a direct impact on the school that your children, nieces, nephews, younger siblings, future workers of America go to. And the funds can be used by the school however they like, whether that's investing in school supplies, field trips, or more Foursquare balls because Zoe keeps cherry bombing them on top of the roof. Take it down a notch, girly pop. Many PTA groups do huge pushes every year to raise money for their schools by getting the community involved in the fundraiser. And since these families are probably already purchasing qualifying products, it's a charity that takes relatively little effort to make a considerable difference. So we did it, gang.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
We found a charity that's actually effective at providing funds for a good cause that children can participate in, using products that many people are already buying and directly funding the school of your choice. That sounds like a perfectly equitable situation to me. I mean, what could go wrong, right, guys? Right? 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 What, you thought capitalism wasn't going to come in here and take a giant dump on everything? This is America, baby! This whole thing stinks of corporate profit motives. And let's start with that last point. Equity. Excellent news! We're starting with equity. Because while yes, they've been making strides to combat this very real problem, it's jarring to see how deep these inequities run. I think it's important to talk about why focusing on equity instead of equality is so important when talking about a charity like this. But leftists are notoriously long-winded, so I'm going to give myself 1 minute on the clock to explain this. Here we go. The way we fund public schools in America is mainly based off of property taxes. That means neighborhoods that are more affluent provide more funding to the schools in their area. Historically, banks, governments, and housing associations have prevented low-income and minority families from moving into richer neighborhoods through tactics like redlining, where banks deny housing loans to people of color to move into nice neighborhoods, light neighborhoods, keeping those communities poor. This has disproportionately affected funding and subsequently education to children going to lower-income schools compared to richer schools. Not to mention losing funding to charter schools, the conservative agenda to promote school choice for children who have the ability to travel longer distances to get to school, and the overall villainization of teachers in media and news. Oh, look at that. Now back to the show. First and foremost, Box Tops is sponsored and directly influenced by General Mills, a massive corporate conglomerate. It is in their best interest to get families to purchase their products over the competition. Not that there's much competition these days. And 10 cents off of a $4 box of cereal is a small price to pay. On the surface, this seems reasonable. The company gets more business and the school gets funding with relatively little effort. But as we talked about earlier, the schools that need the most funding are in lower income areas. Out of the 10 zip codes with the highest earnings from Box Tops in the 2019-2020 school year, 8 out of those 10 had an average household income of more than $80,000 in 2019. Purchasing name brand food might be out of the budget for many of these families. And if by chance they get something that is eligible from a food pantry, they don't have a receipt to scan it into the app. Remember, you have to use the app now, just like your laundry, and your taxi service, and your food delivery service, and your therapy appointment. Speaking of that app, not only is the process more difficult for families who don't have access to the technology needed to donate, it presents a pretty serious privacy concern by giving a massive corporation access to everything you buy on a weekly or monthly basis. Imagine how valuable it would be for a massive food company to see at large what families are buying on a weekly basis. And on a less serious, but still important note, using the app removes what makes the fundraiser appealing to kids in the first place. If there isn't a reason for children to engage in the charity at their school, how else are they going to learn valuable skills like the importance of fundraising, recycling, or philanthropy? In the last 2 years, though, Box Tops has started focusing on equity in school funding partnerships with programs like the LeBron James Family Foundation and donating $500,000 to Black Men Teach, an organization focused on supporting black male teachers, $100,000 to the Kids in Need Foundation, and $280,000 to 14 underserved schools across the U.S. to help students get the supplies they need. This is a great start for an already massively impactful fundraiser. But according to the recent reporting from the charity, the amount of funds donated since switching over to the app have dropped dramatically, and that was only worsened during the pandemic when spending habits of families changed to accommodate their needs. I haven't even gotten to the part where I tell you about the actual products that are eligible for this program. Over 2/3 of the eligible food items for the fundraiser lack the minimum nutritional requirements to be provided at the schools themselves. Thanks, Michelle Obama. And to find out which ones are and which ones aren't, we're going to play a little game I like to call, Is It Food or Candy? Hi there, folks. Welcome to today's episode of Is It Food or Candy? The game show where we find out what products by General Mills are classified by the CDC as not nutritious enough for children. Now I want you to take a close look at these 8 products I've put up here on the board and tell me which of them are actually going to be sold in your child's public school. Did you guess none of them? Because that's right, none of them actually. That's right, none of that, definitely none of that. None of these products are actually allowed to be sold in your child's school. So should you really be buying these in Costco-sized quantities for your children? Well, I can't tell you what to do. I don't get paid for that. So the charity is essentially funded off of junk food, and associating these products with the inherent good that the program does gives them an undue positive connotation. So here we are with another fundraiser that does a lot of good but is held back by the giant mega corporation that started it. It's clear that the fundraiser itself is trying to address the issues that are inherent by design, but I don't think it'll ever fully solve a problem that exists solely as a function of the way schools are funded, and certainly not when it's funded by the spending habits of families. And like I said before, consumer activism does not create systematic change. Really what this does is provide a band-aid solution for disproportionately funded schools who desperately need considerable amounts of funding. And what's what that's resulted in the past 3 decades is creating a reliance on these programs for schools to function. These schools are at the mercy of their family's purchasing power, and when that money starts to disappear, like it has in the past couple of years, we're left with an already underfunded school who is now unable to afford what they could several years ago. There's no amount of individual action that can right the amount of inequity that exists in the public school system. Doesn't matter how much of a sweet tooth you have. If you do want to help your nearest school district, or even better, a low-income school district, you can just download the app and start scanning your receipts to donate. It takes only a couple minutes to download and sign up, and you can search the nearest school district to you to support. If you are concerned about your privacy, you can black out goods that aren't eligible for the program, so General Mills doesn't know you bought condoms with your Cheerios. Wouldn't want that purchasing data to get to them. But to make real change, and not just through your purchasing habits, you should become more informed about the public education system near you and who's running it. And you might be asking yourself, why should you care if you don't have kids? Well, those kids are going to grow up and become participating members in society, and selfishly, I'd rather have an educated population that can make informed decisions. Everyone benefits from that. Thank you for watching to the end. I promise I'm done talking about elementary school activities for a while. But who knows? Maybe the St. Jude's Foundation has a really juicy scandal. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you have no idea what I was talking about with my can tabs, check that out. This is weird. I'm getting a little weirdo right now. We're getting a little weird today. Get it together! This went crazy.